See, this earned value management has a big history, a history of about, I would say, around 30 to 40 years. Okay, it started off as a technique in mid 60s and have been extensively used by US federal government and other agencies as a monitoring and controlling tool, and uh, went through a lot of changes. Somewhere in mid 90s, this has been published as a ANSI, American National Standard tool, ANSI standard, ANSI 748. Okay. So it's a very powerful project monitoring tool, extensively used in US, especially in the government sector. Now, why this tool is very popular? Okay, that is because it measures the project health in a holistic manner. As you look through the picture, you see here scope, time and cost are integrated, and on this integrated output, the health of the project is measured. So can you recollect any specific artifact, whatever we discussed over the last 7-8 sessions? There is one artifact that integrates all the three constraints. When I say all the three constraints, scope, time and cost primarily, and I'll tell you it also integrates many other project management parameters. Can you recollect any document or plan or baseline that's a combined output of all the three?
Is it product management plan, cost management plan?
Okay, not correct, incorrect. Say we spoke about scope. At the end of scope, we have scope baseline with WBS and project scope statement as the contents. Then we developed schedule. We had a schedule baseline, okay, with activities, timelines, dependencies built into it. Then we discussed resource planning and made assignments of resources onto the schedule. So then actually it becomes a resource loaded schedule, okay, which through which you see the resource quantities, effort added to the schedule.
Is it the project budget you are telling?
Very good, Karthik. Very good. Okay. So it is not project budget, it is cost baseline. Okay. On the schedule, you make estimations at the activity level, and then these costs are rolled up according to the timelines. Okay. So then, according in a cumulative function, so then it becomes your project cost budget, and it is also called S curve. Could you recollect S curve?
Yes.
Yep.
Now, S curve contains scope, time, and cost. Tell me how. How S curve contains all the three parameters? I'll draw a simple S curve here. So in this S curve, what is a x-axis?
It's time.
Time. Okay.
Cost is on y-axis.
Cumulative budget is y-axis.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is the cost growth curve. Okay. Now, this time represents your schedule. What is the essential component of schedule? What schedule consists of?
The milestone, no, not milestone.
Excellent. The activities and milestones. Okay. So you have activities and milestones that represents scope in its detailed form. Is it not?
Yes.
So the area under the S curve contains scope. Okay. So hence the S curve integrates all the three elements. Do you agree? All of you? Do you agree or not?
Yep.
1 second. I'll take another ink. Let's say if I draw a line in the middle of it, okay, you will see that all the activities on the left side of it should be completed, correct? At this point of time. Agree? So this is status line. Agree? So as on this date, this much of work need to be completed in this budget at this timeline. So it represents scope, schedule, and cost. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So that's the now we are going to measure the health of the project upon this S curve. So that means the whole integrated project plan is going to be used to monitor the health of the project. Okay. Right. I'll move on. Okay. EVMS is the primary project management tool that integrates scope, schedule, and cost. Now, when I say scope, schedule, and cost, indirectly you integrate all other parameters also. For example, scope includes the quality management activities. So the scope includes both the work scope and quality. The schedule includes the timelines, okay, and cost includes the resources. Okay, you load resources onto the schedule and then multiply it by rates and quantities and you get cost. So if you look at it, when I say it integrates scope, schedule, and cost, along with that quality and resources are also added. Upon this integrated plan, you perform risk analysis and then go and update the plan with all the mitigation, transference, avoidance, all the activities that you are going to perform, okay, in order to respond to those risks. So risk also is integrated into the plan. Then through resources, you also integrate procurement into the plan. So in a nutshell, S curve represents the complete project plan. All right, I'll move on. Now I'm going to take a simple case, okay, a toll highway caselet. Okay, you can use any of the measurement, whether crores or millions, whatever is appropriate. But the project goes like this. Okay, so you are going to build 12 segments. It could be miles, okay, of a toll highway in 12 months with an estimated cost and later approved budget of 120 crores. So this is the project. I have selected this because I'm expecting each of you to do all the calculation intuitively, okay, without using a calculator, or with the simple functions you can do the calculations. Okay, so are you comfortable with the case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is the project scope here? Can you give it in one sentence? What is the scope of this project? What is the scope of this project?
Road segment, building a road or something.
Building a road, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, schedule, budget.
Course.
Okay, good. So if I distribute this budget linearly, equally, how much it would cost to build one segment?
10 crores.
10 crores. What would be the budget you would allocate per month?
10 crores.
10 crores. Now with these parameters, if I ask you to draw the S curve, okay, horizontal axis schedule and Y axis cumulative cost, and the S curve with the distributed budget, how the S curve would look like?
It looks like a straight line at 45 degrees angle.
Very good. Okay, Karthik and Meeta, do you agree?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. So that's what we are doing here. The total budget is 120 crores to be spent over 12 months. As a project manager, I plan to produce one segment every month at an estimated cost of 10 crores. So this 10 crores, we call it as planned value. Okay, I'll keep introducing these new acronyms and metrics. Okay, if you have a piece of paper, please make a note of it one by one. Okay, planned value. When I say planned value, you can also consider it as a scheduled value of scope. Okay, so every month I'm scheduling 10 crore value of work. Okay, then when I do spread it like that, I'll get that S curve in a straight line form with a 45 degree angle.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the cumulative PV at the end of 3 months?
30 crores, am I
30
right?
crores. 6 months?
60 crores.
12 months?
120 crores.
Okay, so this the 120 crores has a special name. It is called budget at completion, BAC. Okay, I would suggest, okay, you guys please note down these acronyms and the values so that you can perform the calculation in parallel as we keep doing. Okay, so this 120 crores, the total budget carries a special acronym called budget at completion. So when you complete the whole total scope, the corresponding budget is called BAC. Shall I move on?
Yeah, it's clear for me.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Let me continue. So now the project plan is approved and the works are authorized. We don't have time to go through every month. So we have come to the end of 6 months. Okay, that is the middle of the project. We are taking stock of the situation, and the field reports says 5 segments have been fully completed and the 6th segment is in progress. Okay, we call it as a WIP. WIP stands for work in progress. So work in progress is one segment and the 5 segments have been fully completed. Okay, so this is the report from the site. So now the question here is, how do you assess the progress percentage? Can you give an answer? What is the progress percentage now? At least you can give 3 options or even 4 options.
You mean to say that the partial complete is like either 5.25 or 5.5 or 5.75 or something like that?
That could be one option. Okay, consider partial percentage, the partial completion as a fraction of it, and then say whatever it is. between 5 to 6.
Fif-
That is one option. Second option, Meeta.
50%, that is 60 crores.
60 crores. I'm not asking in crores. What is the percentage completion of the work?
50%.
50%. Very good. Okay, that is second option. Karthik, what is your option? Third option.
Yeah, 0.5%. Oh, sorry.
That means you are agreeing with Kama.
Yeah.
I want a different option.
No idea.
That's an option. Is it not? Yeah, it's because that's clearly an option. You can say no idea or I don't know. We have to really estimate what is that in progress. Then only I can tell what is the exact progress of the work. Okay, three things coming up.
Yeah.
Definitely, it is not 60%. Correct?
Yeah.
So it is 50% and let's say 58% or I can't say anything exactly. It is somewhere between 50 to 60. So this could be the three options. Now, if as a client, if I want to make sure that I pay only the work which adds value to me. Okay, if I pay to the contractor only for the work that adds value to me. So which of the three percentages I should consider? 50 or 60 or 54 or 55? Which one I should, as a client, okay, let's say I want to pay to the contractor. So, but I want to make sure that every work that is completed is going to add value to me in terms of giving me revenue. That means, let's say, at the end of each segment, I open it for public and I start collecting toll. So if that is my value recognition or benefit recognition, at this point of time, how much I will pay to the contractor?
Only when it is complete, whatever it is completely completed, like, like in this case, it's only 55 segments,
Excellent, excellent. That's what I want from you. Okay. So, 5 segments have been fully completed, tested, and opened for public. So, I will pay him 50 crores. The other partial percentage, I really don't know the condition of the work. Okay, it might not, see, everything might have been completed, but still, if it is not cleared by, let's say, the inspection agency, I can't open it. I don't have any value out of it. So I will not pay. So this is, okay, I call it as earned value. Okay, earned value. Okay, the work that has been completed earns only 50 crores. So I segregate, okay, the completed work, okay, the budget associated with it called earned value. So now, what was the planned value at the end of 6 months?
60 crores.
60 crores. How much is earned at the end of 6 months?
60,000.
How much earned at the end of 6 months?
50 crores.
50 crores.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what is the shortfall? How much is the shortfall?
10 crores.
10 crores. Okay. So now, if I want you to attribute this 10 crores for a cause, for which cause you will attribute to this 10 crores? Why there is a 10 crore shortfall in terms of earning?
Taxes.
Because the work is not completed.
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Okay, the 6th segment work is not completed, so we could not earn that 10 crores. Now, this is the scope variance, correct? One segment shortfall is the scope variance. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now, what is the status of schedule? Is it going according to the plan?
Yes.
Is it so?
Yeah, because schedule is like 6 months, 6 units, am I right now?
Yeah, but have they done that 6 units? So is the schedule on track or behind schedule, the project?
Oh, okay, behind the schedule. Yeah, only 6 are completed. 5 are completed in the 6th month. Oh, okay.
See, at the end of 6 months, I'm supposed to complete 6 segments, but I have completed only 5 segments.
5, yeah.
So, how much, I mean, what is the schedule variance? How many months we are behind schedule?
1 month.
All three agree? The project is
Yeah.
currently 1 month behind schedule. Do you agree?
It's actually not 1 month though, because we make it 6, and the 6th month it's not completed. That doesn't mean that 6 months, second day or something like that it completes.
That's
So,
true. But if I want to be clear, okay, without any ambiguity, it is 1 month behind schedule, correct?
yeah, okay.
See, I'm giving you the benefit. If you say that it is just 1 week behind schedule, next month I will cope up and then deliver 2 segments, you are back on track. Is it not?
Yes.
Okay. So whenever this work in progress, which is not adding any value to the project, I will not consider it as work accomplished and schedule accomplished. And cost invested. This WIP, I will quarantine it from the work progress. That is one of the rule of WP, the earned value management. Quarantine is the right word. Now everyone can understand. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm calling this 10 crores as schedule variance. The project is behind schedule, because of which our earning, okay, of 10 crores is negative. If we have delivered 6 segments as of this date, we could have earned 60 crores. Now that we earned only 50 crores, okay, the behind schedule is costing to the company to the tune of 10 crores. Do you agree? Others?
Yep.
Okay. At the end of 6 months, our schedule variance is, from a time perspective, approximately 1 month. You follow the graph that I am drawing. Okay. And this 1 month schedule delay is costing to the contractor to the tune of 10 crores. Agree?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this 1 month behind schedule is the performance. Who likes it most? Is it contractor or client?
Obviously, client.
Behind schedule, but who will be interested in that performance metric? Contractor or client? 1 month behind schedule. Client. Very good, Meeta. Because of 1 month delay, 10 crores we are losing. Whose metric is this?
Contractor.
Contractor. Excellent. Because the contractor is losing that billing, okay, at the end of 6 months. Okay, so you will see that this earned value management helps both contractor and the client. Of course, both of us will be concerned with the other metric also. Okay. Now, this is one part of the story. The other part of the story is at what rate we are behind schedule, the rate at which we are trailing behind. Okay, so that is calculated by this ratio, earned value divided by planned value, which is 50 by 60, that is equal to 0.83. So our schedule performance is 83% of the expected performance. So that means we are behind schedule by 17%. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So now we got two formulas. Okay. Schedule variance is equal to earned value minus planned value. Schedule performance index, which is the ratio of earned value by planned value, gives me 0.83. In terms of percentage, it is 83%. So that gives me the other metric. What is the schedule overrun, which is 17%. That is 100 minus 83 or 1 minus 0.83, which is 17% behind schedule. Now, this earned value management is very sensitive in terms of the signs and the digit. Okay, if the variance is negative, that means project is not doing good. In this case, it is behind schedule. If the index is less than 1.0, the project is in trouble. That is behind schedule in this case. Okay, these are all vital parameters you need to remember. As you look at the number only, you will immediately say that the project is behind schedule or over budget or whatever the reason for it. So in order to get the right symbol, okay, in terms of plus or minus, you need to use the right formula. So when we calculate SV, it is always EV comes first, EV minus PV. When we calculate the ratio, again EV comes first, EV divided by PV. Do you understand?
Yes, back in our days, I remember that like, E comes before P kind of, rule of thumb. Like,
That's fantastic. I'm actually learning a new lesson today in my 23 years of PMP. Okay, E comes before P. Fantastic. So let us see in the next formula whether the same thumb rule works or not. Okay, others, shall I move forward?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let me take you to the next slide. So now the accounts department comes with their numbers. What they say is, when I look at the expenses that has been incurred on this project over the last 6 months, the labor cost comes to 15 crores and the materials, equipments and other services we paid 60 crores, and the overall expenditure on this project against these 5 completed segments is 75 crores. So this is the account they are presenting to the project manager. So you will notice here, again in this accounting method, the 6th segment, which is WIP, is not included because we have not included in the work progress, we have not included in the schedule progress, so we will not also include it in the cost progress. So now let us come to the calculations again. Let's go from a contractor perspective. How much he has billed it to the client at the end of 6 months?
it's 25 crores more than what he's supposed to.
You have not understood my question. My question is, what is the invoice value submitted by the contractor?
75 crores.
Invoice value. The contractor, how much the contractor can invoice with the client?
At the end of 6 months, am I right?
Yes.
So 60,000.
No.
60 crores, 60 crores.
No. Karthik, if you are the contractor, how much you would have submitted as invoice to the client? Meeta.
At the end of 6 months?
At the end of 6 months, 5 segments have been completed, 75 crores spent. Okay. So, how much the client will pay to the contractor?
5 segments. 50 crores because each segment is 10 crores. 5 segment is 50 crores. So the client will pay 50 crores only.
That's right. Perfect answer. Okay. Other two, do you agree?
Yeah.
You may say it's ridiculous, or you may say it's atrocious, but the truth is the client will pay only 50 crores. That is the milestone payment. For every milestone you achieve, you get that payment. So since completed 5 segments, the client gets, the contractor gets only 50 crores. Now the contractor gets 50 crores, but if he is according to the schedule, he could have got 60 crores. But from the cost perspective, he spent 75 crores. What has gone wrong here?
Definitely cost overrun.
There is a huge cost overrun. What could be the reasons? There could be n number of reasons. Okay, under budget or underquote intentionally, or as they started the project, expenditures became more, maybe in terms of land or maybe in terms of material. Everything, the rates have gone up and they spent more. Okay,
Or initial project cost may be high.
initial project cost may be high. Okay, that's a good reason. We will discuss it at the end. Okay, we'll discuss it at the end. But right now, the reality is they earned 50 crores and they spent 75 crores. So this difference, we call it as cost variance. So the cost variance is equal to earned value minus actual cost. So, comma, you need to withdraw your thumb rule. Now, E is greater than A. Okay, but keep this thumb rule always in your mind. EV always comes first, no matter, okay, whether it is ahead of the alphabet or behind the alphabet. So, in terms of value, 50 minus 75, that is equal to minus 25. Okay, so the cost variance at this point of time is 25 crores minus. And the cost performance index, CPI, is the same way, EV by AC, which is 50 by 75, that is 0.67. That means the performance is only 67% of the expected performance. That means, also means 33% cost overrun on this project at this point of time. Is it clear up to this point? Now, if you are very clear up to this point, okay, I can tell you very confidently, okay, you scored at least 3 questions in the examination, okay, up to what we have discussed so far. So, for an ideal performance, okay, how our EV graph and AC graph should be for an ideal performance. For an ideal performance, how this EV graph and AC graph should be.
Basically, it should merge with the center line, am I right?
Excellent. That's the answer. If the project is going perfectly well, you will see only one graph. Okay, both EV and AC will be hidden under the PV curve, but that never happens, correct? Okay, so we can say if the project is going good, these two graphs should hug around the PV graph. So then the project is going good. So with this one graph, you can month on month, you can sense the, if I plot the SPI and CPI in a time scale, that also should be around this 1.0. If it goes like this, the project is doing good. Any questions up to this point of time?
Do they practically, like, what is the, like, if it is a 12 months project or something, it may not, does it make sense still to use this kind of thing? Is it more of an analysis tool, am I right? Like, if it is a 1 year project or something like that, then do they still do this? I'm just thinking, what is the practical application, or what is the, duration or amount involved in tracking,
tool, right?
doing this kind of work,
I guess it's more of a monitoring tool that gives them, are we ahead of the project, are we behind the project, are we on time? Just for tracking the time periods.
Now,
Okay.
which metric is not included at this point of time? Tell me. Which parameter is not measuring? We are not measuring through this.
Quality?
Quality. Very good. Okay, the product quality is not measured. Okay. Now, when let's say in between raw material selection or any other final product quality, if it is not matching, what will be the instruction to the contractor and what contractor will do in response to that inspection result or the rejection report? What is he supposed to do? He will rework, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it is a particular piece of product is rejected, he need to make it again and replace it, correct?
Yeah.
Will it not influence the actual cost?
Definitely.
Will it not influence in schedule variance? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so anything
Yeah.
that happens in the project will ultimately reflect in your work scope, schedule, and cost. So, of course, as we rightly said, the product metric, the performance metric, okay, is not measured through EVM, but all the project metrics are included in this measurement system. Okay, so now if you are not if your measurement system or as an organization, if you are not equipped with the EVM, you can't do any project in federal government with certain value and above. Okay, it is a mandatory requirement, okay, to comply with the earned value management system if you want to bid for any government project.
Okay, that answers my question. Okay, it's more of a compliance and thing.
But when you say it is more of compliance, don't you see any utility in this?
No, there is definitely a value addition kind of thing, but I've just, for some reason, I'd never used this, in our application. We just use this, I was just more looking at the practicality where it comes and in which organization get used and what is the size of the project and all stuff. That's what my mind is boggling,
So
when you said.
now I fully understand the practicality of it. So now if you want to practice EVM, now from all that we discussed over the last 1 month or so, tell me what is the essential prerequisites to practice EVM, without which you cannot measure earned value metrics.
Oh, that's the planned value we need to know. You need to have a cost baseline.
Exactly.
Okay, and you need.
The cost baseline is the essential prerequisite.
Yeah.
Now the cost baseline you will get for a project when you draw the WBS, and then when you detail into schedule, and on the schedule you need to allocate all resources including material, equipment, people and overheads, everything you need to allocate against the respective activity, and then you need to make an estimate of cost and roll up and then draw the S-curve. So if you have the capability to develop an integrated project plan and that results in S-curve, then EVM is a byproduct. It comes automatically. Do you agree?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So now how one company or one project team can build this integrated project plan? Obviously, you need some sort of an integrated tooling environment, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So that is what I am saying. Your systems, processes and software should have this EVM compatibility. Once you have that, practicing EVM is very easy because the tool helps you to do all these calculations. You don't really need to worry about it. Whether it is 60 activities or 6,000 activities, whether it is let's say $6,000 or $6 billion, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all you need to do is develop the plan systematically, update the progress week on week, and these metrics are actually calculated by any decent automated software will do this. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
Kama, are you convinced now?
Yes.
Okay. What about Karthik?
Yeah, trying to understand this epic.
Okay. Now you're understanding about trying to understand the basics or trying to understand the implementation perspective?
implementation.
Okay. Basics are clear, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll move forward. We have covered only 70% of EVM. Okay. So now, if you are a sponsor receiving this report like this at this point of time in the middle of the project, okay, let's say sponsor from the contractor side, sponsor from the client side. So what will be going on in your mind? We are at the end of 6 months now, and the PM and the team and the contractor are presenting this kind of report. So what will go in your mind?
This is gives a status report, am I right? Like gives like whether it's a schedule overrun. I mean, its time and scope is not met, and at the same time, cost is incurred more.
Yeah,
Both
but I'm
sides.
asking what will be your mindset now at this point of time. See, let's say as a client, you invested 12,000 crore on the project. Okay, and let's say as a contractor, you have spent 75 crore against or 750 crores against the revenue of 500 crores. So what will be your state of mind? Thoughts will go into your mind.
Something there is something is wrong. We need to take action on that one. Like
See, you are all paid employees, so you don't have that feeling. You should put yourself in the investor's perspective and the organization head perspective. So, Karthik, what will be your worries at this point of time? If you are a client, what will be your worry?
How the work can be accomplished within the budget, within the time.
That's right. Perfect.
Where we can reduce the
Is
cost,
it possible
and
to
how
reduce the cost?
effectively
Okay.
and how effectively we can utilize the time to get best value out of what is left.
Correct. In fact, all those remedial action is project manager's job, but the sponsor's job is, okay, the worry is, see, this is the EV trend. Okay, I'll just take one more different pointer. I'll take red. Okay, so if I extend this, I'm going to end this project somewhere here. And if I end this cost graph, it will go somewhere here. Correct? In fact, my screen is limiting. Actually, it is going to go still further. So this is going to be my end date, a projected end date. And when I end it, this is going to be my cost. So it will be somewhere here. Agree?
yes.
So I would like to know what is that number. Okay, what is this number and what is this number? So that is called forecast. Okay, so that is the second side of project monitoring, forecasting. Okay, so now this forecasting broadly involve two types. Okay, first type is typical. Typical means I'm just projecting the future based on the past. Okay, so the past says my cost performance index is 67%. If I project based on the same indicator, what will be the future cost? Okay, so can you quickly put the number here and then give me this? So the metric is called estimate at completion, EAC, estimate at completion. So can you tell me what will be the estimate at completion? EAC is equal to BAC is 120. Cost performance index is 0.67. So what is EAC? 0.67 is 2 by 3.
179.
179 or around about 180 crores. Correct?
Yeah.
Imagine he has built 20% margin on this project. For 120 crores, let us say 20% means 24 crores or 25 crores. Okay, and then yeah, something like that. Okay, so he thought he can complete this project around 95 crores or so, and then we'll have around 25 crores margin. But now if it is heading towards 180 crores, what will happen to the contractor?
He'll suicide.
He will suicide. Perfect answer. Unfortunately or fortunately, that will not be there in the PMP exam. He will suicide. Okay, but in Indian context, we have seen a lot of suicides by contractor.
Here in US, it's bankruptcy.
Yes, it will result in bankruptcy. Okay, today we see no companies like Kingfisher, Yes Bank, ILFS, and you can give your own examples from United States.
Wells Fargo.
Pardon?
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo, is it bankrupt?
The bank is.
Okay, the bank of it, banking side of it is bankrupt, is it?
That's basically the best. What is that company? Circuit City.
Okay.
They are bankrupt.
So there are a lot of even Fortune 500 companies go out of the market like this. So now you can understand in book project how earned value management system helps you to give early warning right from the beginning across the life cycle of the project. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So now I will come to what Kama raised in the beginning. Okay, in the beginning of the project, I spent more. For whatever be the reason, I spent more. And the second half or later part of the project, I'm not expecting that pace of expenditure or extent of expenditure. So then the forecasting should be done in a typical manner.
Yes.
Yes. Then the formula is the actual cost that is spent. You can't do anything about it. And the remaining part, ETC, that is termed as estimate to complete the remaining work, ETC. So this ETC, I'm going to compute based on a different method. Shall I show you that method? Yes, let us look at it. Okay, so this is a little complex page. Don't get confused. I'll explain step by step. Okay, the AC, you look at it. Okay, AC is taken forward as it is, and here I am using BAC minus. I make an assumption that the remaining work can be completed with the remaining budget. Okay, so now in the current case, what is the remaining budget available with that? How much remaining budget is available?
70 crores.
No.
45.
45 crores.
No,
That's the perfect answer. These are all PMP examination question. Huh? Please don't make mistake. Think about it. 120 crores is
okay. It's from 75 crores. Okay, got you.
75 crores is spent. So the balance 45 crores to be is available with you. So how many segments to be completed at the end of 6 months? How many segments to be completed?
7.
Okay. For those 7 segments, you have money left with you as only 45 crores. So roughly each segment to be completed in 6.5 crores. So you need to make an estimate. If it is possible, you can give to both the contractor as well as to the client. Don't worry, I'm still on control. I'm still in control. I can complete the project within the allocated budget of 120 crores. Okay. But do you think in any real-time project such situation comes up?
May not be.
Very unlikely. Very unlikely. Okay. Now, in the earned value management system, there are multiple methods to calculate EV. Okay. So, which you will find in the cost management plan. Okay. I'll give you with one example. Let's say you are engaging a heavy equipment contractor who is going to mobilize something like some 300 metric ton lifting capacity crane, okay, to a big project. Okay, so, and you agree with him saying to mobilize my crane itself, it will cost around 20 to 30% of the contract value. And then for every hour the crane is used, I'll bill you with certain rate. So in such case, let's say the contract value is, let's say 10 crores. The mobilization itself will cost 2 crores. And then for every hour of its usage, you will charge something like $5,000 or whatever it is. So in such case, the cost is front loaded. So the EV earning method, okay, will be according to that milestone. Mobilization will be counted as a milestone. Once that milestone is achieved, when the contractor mobilizes the particular equipment, you can say that the 20% of the contract value is earned. So then you will see the cost variance will not be so much, like 50 versus 75. Okay, the variance will be very narrow. Okay, and also the calculations will be very accurate. You can confidently say that the remaining 7 segments, I can do it at 6.5 crores per.
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is one method. Okay, I'm using a bottom-up method. Okay, to calculate and say that 6.5 crores is good enough for me to complete the project, something like that. Okay, or you can assume a different CPI for the remaining period. Okay, up to the past it is 0.67. Let us assume for the next 6 months I can contain the cost and maintain it at the budgeted value. When you say I will maintain the budgeted value, the CPI will be equal to 1.0, because 1.0 is the ideal number. So then the BAC minus EV is the remaining segment. BAC is 120, EV is 50. So 70 is the remaining work to be completed, and I am expecting it to complete with 1.0 as my cost performance. So, and you are projecting I have spent 75 crores, okay, and I need another 70 crore. So overall I can complete it at 145 crore. So what I am saying here is, in the past 6 months there were a lot of issues, I spent a lot of money, so that reflect as a poor performance of 67%. In the remaining 6 months, my CPI will be 1.0. I'm expecting it to be 1.0. So that means with 70 crore, I will complete the 7 segments. So the overall cost will be 145 crores. So the loss is not 60 crores. The loss is going to be only 25 crores. Against 120, we will end up at 145. So now, if I have built in 25 crores as the profit, so now it will be no loss, no gain. I'll be able to complete the project. I'll just scrape through it.
Yes. What is the difference between alternative 1 and alternative 3 if CPI becomes 1?
Alternative 1, my expected CPI is going to be 1.2 or 1.3.
Oh, okay. Here in this we are baselining it as to 1.0.
Which will be, you will see that it is more realistic.
Okay.
So this is another method. There is a fourth method, which is something, a spiraling effect. Okay, so my current CPI is 0.67. My SPI is 0.83. Okay, now you will see some strange thing happens in project. If the schedule goes wrong, cost also will go much more wrong, because resources are idle, and so the cost performance will have a spiraling effect.
Yes,
it's like this.
Definitely.
For example, if you are in the middle of a project, let's say 1 month, you are all locked down because of this virus threat, etc. All the resources are keeping idle without putting into work. So overall project cost will go very heavy. So the combined effort will be 0.7 into 0.8, which is 0.56. 0.56, if it is going to be the performance, resultant performance, the 70 crore work divided by 0.5, it will be 140 crores plus 75 crores. The overall cost will be 140 plus 75 is 250. Against 120 crores, you are going to spend 215 crores.
Very good.
So if you see your company, your project is in such state, immediately you need to put your resume for an alternate job. Have you ever in the midst of such projects? Any of you?
No.
Yes.
You were there, Vamita?
Yes.
Okay. Can you narrate the experience? See, this project,
Oh,
okay, it started with 120 as the budget. Okay. In the middle, it has grown to, okay, 25 crore cost overrun. And it is expected to complete at 145 or 180 or 2. That is going to be the
yes.
scenario. So, can you explain how it was?
Yeah. What happened is I was doing an auditing project where we were expecting that the audit project will expand to all the countries. Like we had 7 countries in the project, and we were expecting that will run the auditing for all the 7 countries. So for all the 7 countries, the security audit was for different. There are different scenarios, like how is SOX compliance, ISO compliance. So for Germany, we have a different one. For Singapore, we have a different one. So what that time the management took a decision that we had 12 members, and they decided to hire 47 members without looking at how many applications they had, how many servers they had, and they tried to make everybody compliance in different fields. So to compliance all those people which were existing, they spent half of the budget and they hire more people. In the hiring process, we lose some time, and also we overspend the budget, and it was more than the double. At the end, we were looking that when we calculated, it was more than double what was expected, and the client totally dismissed the project. And they hired ENY to do the compliance, because they're already compliance and they have people all around the world, and they gave the budget on that was like even we were the way we calculated at the 3 months time limit, we are going to extend more than 2 times what we gave them. But ENY, when they came in, they were doing exactly at the budget what we have given initially. So the project they totally cracked from my consulting company and they gave it to ENY.
We will look at one last metric. Okay, so now we are in the middle of the project. Our cost performance shows 67%. Our schedule performance shows 83%. So the sponsor would like to know, okay, what should be the target if I want to complete the project within 12 months at an originally allocated budget of 130 crores. Okay, so that is actually calculated from this formula called TCPI, metric called TCPI. So the expansion is to complete performance index, to complete performance index, TCPI. Okay, the formula is very simple. It is the ratio of work that remains divided by the ratio, the fund that is remains with us. Okay, the ratio of work remaining versus fund remaining. So can you tell me how much of work remains at this point of time? How much of work remains? 7 segments. What is the equivalent dollar value or rupee value? 70 crores.
70 crores.
Okay, what is the fund remains?
45.
45 crores. So if you take that as the ratio, okay, 120 minus 50, which is 70, 120 minus 75, the money that is spent, which is 45, the ratio comes to 1.56. Okay, this 1.56 is the TCPI. Okay, if I put it in a small graph, okay, it goes like this. Okay, so this is 6 months time. Okay, my current performance is 0.67. For the next 6 months, I need to step up my performance to 1.56. Okay, so this is my past performance, current performance, and this should be my future performance. Is it possible? From here, 0.67, step it up to 1.56 and run for the next 6 months. Is it possible? Is it possible or not possible?
Yeah, nothing is impossible.
Ah, fantastic. Very, very, very optimistic, Karthik. Okay, I would love to employ you as a project manager.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay. So it's I mean we saw different alternatives, correct? If it is alternative 1, it is possible. Okay, because we are going to spend only 6.5 crore per every segment. It is possible. Okay, so it is like this. Okay, you are playing a 2020 match, and then you have a target of 150 runs, and the first 10 overs you score at the rate of, let's say, Gavaskar rate, 4 runs per over. So you scored 40 runs, okay, at the end of first 10 overs. So how many overs remains? 10 over remains. How many runs required? 110 runs required. So that 110 you have to score in how many balls? 60 balls. So per over, roughly you need to score 12 runs. 12 runs or more? Yeah, 11 runs. 11 runs. Okay. So from 4 runs per over, okay, you need to step up to 11 runs per over consistently over the next 10 overs. If it is possible, the project is possible. Okay. So this ratio is called TCPI. Work remaining versus fund remaining. Okay, if you see that it is not possible, then the customer and the contractor should sit together and then work out what is the recovery plan. Okay, the client may have to infuse some additional fund. The contractor may have to step up his work by augmenting workforce and then do whatever it is, and then they need to come to a via media, sometimes something in between. Okay, so this TCPI helps to work on such recovery plans. Okay, so this is the essence of earned value analysis. I'm going to ask at the end of 6 months, which parameter reflects the budgeted work or scheduled work? At the end of 6 months, which parameter measures the scheduled work?
Earn value, no, value minus,
Which value reflects the scheduled work? I'm not asking any.
EV minus PV.
Huh?
EV minus PV. The thumb rule.
No. Scheduled work, the work that is scheduled for that period.
The PV, am I right? Like,
That's right, PV. PV represents scheduled work. Okay. The which parameter reflects the accomplished work? Which parameter reflects the accomplished work? PV reflects the scheduled work.
earn
and
value.
value.
Yes, EV. Okay. Which parameter reflects the money spent for the earned value, for the accomplished work? That is AC, right? So very important. AC represents the actual cost spent over the earned value. Okay. In order to make that 5 segments, I have spent 75 crores. Okay, not for the WIP. WIP is not included in. Okay, now let's go to formula. SV is equal to, schedule variance is equal to EV minus
PV,
PV. Perfect. Cost variance is equal to
EV minus AC.
PV minus SC.
AC. Very good. Cost performance index is equal to
Index is equal to EV minus SC.
cost performance index. When I say index, It is the ratio.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah,
EV by
EV divided by AC.
EV divided by AC. Okay. The variance, if it is negative, what does it mean? If the variance is negative, what does it mean?
We are overrunning the cost.
Either overrunning the schedule or cost. Okay. If the index is above 1.0, what does it mean?
It's that the work is good. We are utilizing less money with more resources
Excellent.
and doing the work more.
Okay. We are doing more work with less money. Okay. So what is the formula for TCPI? What is the formula for TCPI?
Yeah,
To complete performance index. You don't give the formula, you give only the ratio. It is the ratio of T.
yeah. The ratio of utilized, leftover value cost is to the leftover work.
Which one comes on the top?
The cost comes on the top.
No, work comes on the top. Work that remains divided by money that remains or that remains. The work that remains was 70. The fund that remains was 45. So we got 1.56.